be screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to Cypherfics. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the third part of, What If Ichigo Enters KUROINU? Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of Takamagara 2012 on fanfiction.net. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. In the center of Rad, not far from the barn. Man, I am feeling bored. One grunt said. We can always bang these girls. Another grunt said. We are on break after all. Afterwards we can give these girls to Lord Volt. Just then, one grunt felt a strong knock on the back of his neck. As the one man fell, they were shocked to see Ichigo opposing them all. They grabbed their swords, ready to fight him. Ichigo sighed as he watched them charge at him. The orange-haired teen evaded the first man's strike before he punched him down, knocking him out. The remaining 8 all charged at him at the same time until Rukia appeared. Humph. Hakufuku. As Rukia said the spell's name, the men stopped as they saw purple cherry blossoms falling. The second they saw it, their visions grew blurry and before they knew it, they were out cold. Rukia, how did you learn that move? Ichigo asked her. There are some spells that even you don't know I can do. Rukia chuckled with her arms crossed. I know some people. Anyway, let's get the girls out. Wow, nice going you guys. Ranjaku said as she, Nozomi, Chloe and Yoriichi approached them after they knocked down all of the grunts. Who are you guys? One of Kagaya's maidens asked them. Are you here to take us away? Take it easy. We are friends of High Elf Celestine and her apprentice Aliyah. Yoriichi said. We're here to help. Aliyah? The black-haired girl dressed in a shrine maiden outfit and panties made from a wrap said as she looked up. Her garnet eyes looked at Yoriichi, Ichigo, Chloe and the others despite her vision being blurry from being molested by Volt and his men for the past month. Is she safe? You must be Kagaya, the shrine maiden, right? Ranjaku asked her, which she weakly nodded. Don't worry, Aliyah's safe. Who are you guys? The orange-haired ringlet asked them. She was a tall but ample woman wearing a green cloak tied together with red string, a silver metal collar, a light brown bikini top concealing her ample assets and a gold and crimson plate hiding her shaven lower entrance. She was on her knees when she got the others' attention. We'll give you a proper introduction later. Ichigo said as he looked away blushing innocently. You and the girls stand back. Nozomi, Rukia, Chloe do your thing. As Kagaya, her shrine maidens, and Roro all stood back as the girls stood in front of the gated carts. Rukia, Nozomi, and Chloe all raised their right hand out in front of them while holding said arm with their left. Now! Rukia cried. Hado number 31. Shaka-o. The 3 girls cried out as they fired their orbs of crimson-red energy the size of a basketball. The 3 orbs hit the gated carts making a hole large enough for them to escape. The maidens all ran for Kagaya who passed out from fatigue and helped her up. Is she okay? Nozomi asked them. Yes, she's just tired. One of the maidens answered. Volt and his men's been using us as their SEC slaves for the past month. Kagaya endured it for half the time until they were able to break her. Don't worry, you're safe now. Rukia said. Come with us, quickly. Right. The girls replied as they followed Rukia, Ichigo, and the others. Chloe broke from the group and went to find Seishin. Chloe, where you're going? Come back. Rukia cried. Not without Seishin-sama. Chloe cried back. Yoriichi scowled. Go on ahead. I'll help Chloe find Seishin. As Yoriichi and Chloe ran to find Seishin and Ichigo, Rukia, and the others ran to the barn before any additional reinforcements come. Elsewhere, Seishin and Ichigo ran inside the building his inner hollow said they were. Ichigo, take my hand. Seishin said, which she happily did before Seishin uses his shadow travel. The two flew through the shadows up to the main room where all of the men stripped Maya of her clothes. Ichigo gasped at the lewd looks the men made as they gazed at Maya's naked body. I know, Ichigo, it's a horrid sight to see. Seishin said. I'll use the shadows to drag Maya in and you do your thing and take care of those guys. Anything for you, Seikun. Ichigo happily said before she kisses his lips. The young man blushed a light pink after Ichigo pulled her lips back from his before she drew her zanpakuto out. Hee, come on out, Sanpo Kenju. Just as Ichigo called out her zanpakuto, two large physical shadows appeared behind the pink-haired Shinigami. At the same time, all 20 of the mercenaries had dropped their pants and stroked their cocks. Lewd grins were plastered on their faces as they were about to feast on the red-haired female. Just as they were about to have their way with Maya, her shadow stretched out until it was as big as the rug she was on. Sorry boys, but your playtime won't be with her. Seishin chuckled through his mask. It's you. That masked man Volt encountered. One grunt gasped. That means dash. Kagaya and her maidens as well as Roro are now in my hands. Seishin said. But don't worry, I'll leave you a parting gift for you to play with. Seishin grabbed her clothes and wrapped his arms around Maya before he and Maya sank into the shadows. Once he reappeared with Maya beside Ichigo, he nodded to her as she makes her move. Two roars were made as two creatures sprouted out of the shadows. It wears a black cloak and has a large bone running through its head vertically, wielding a long dagger-like blade that has another blade protruding at the top edge. The other creature is plump and covered in fur, leaving its eyes only partially visible, wielding a cleaver. The men screamed in terror before the two creatures went with their merciless assault. Seishin and Ichigo watched as her zanpakuto killed all 20 of the guards, leaving the room splattered in blood. The two creatures returned into the shadow realm and appeared next to Seishin, who calmly smiled. It's been a long time, lumpy and bony. Seishin removed his mask and smiled at the two creatures. They calmly growled and knelt down before him. The young man chuckled as he approached them and petted the two creatures. Lumpy fur was soft and slick when he petted it on its head. Seishin then petted Bony's hair on its head, earning a calm purr from the two creatures before they returned to Ichiro's zanpakuto. Ah, they still like you. Ichigo giggled until she noticed Yoriichi and Chloe approaching their location. I see Yoru and Chloe. Yoriichi and Chloe? Seishin questioned when he saw them nearing their location. Well, we better go and dash. Just then, Seishin spotted 10 more of KUROINU's men chasing someone. The only thing that caught his eye were dark elf ears. Seikun? Ichigo asked the red-haired man. Ichigo, once I get you to Yoriichi and Chloe, stay with them. Seishin said. Why? Ichigo asked him with concern. I spy with my hollowified eye, another dark elf in distress and some men who will soon die. Seishin replied. Ichigo saw the seriousness in his eyes, the same seriousness he had the last time when he and Kenpachi fought. Ichigo grinned and happily nodded. Yes, sir. Ichigo replied. As Yoriichi and Chloe were near the building Maya was in, Seishin got Ichigo out of the shadow realm with Maya in her hands. Ichigo? Yoriichi gasped when she saw her approaching them. And you got Maya. Excellent. Where's Seishin-sama? Chloe asked her. He's currently doing something else. Ichigo replied. He said that he found more of those bad men chasing another dark elf. Another elf? The two girls said at the same time. In the center of town, another cloaked woman was running from KUROINU's grunts. She ran as fast as her legs could be until she ran into an alley. She grew exhausted from the running and fell in the dirt. The very men appeared before her with lewd grins plastered on their faces. One of them reached for the cloak she was wearing to reveal who she was. A dark elf with amber eyes, white waist-length hair with strands of purple at the bottom and red ribbons wrapped around the frontal strands of her hair. She wore a black leaf-like choker around her neck, burgundy NPL covers that did little to cover her large melons and a garter belt that stretched below her melons downward, though it did little to hide her curvy hips. She also wore one thigh-high heel on her right and a matching ankle-length heel on her left. She gasped at the grunts slowly approaching her. She shut her eyes tightly fearing the inevitable until Seishin in his hollow mask jumped out of the wall's shadow and stood before the elf, glaring at the men. "It's you!" The grunt gasped. "The masked man who opposed Volt that day. He killed more than 3 dozen of our men. We have to fall back." Another grunt cried as they were about to run off. "Those that look at women as just objects shall be punished," Seishin said before he used flash step and mercilessly beat them down until they couldn't move, then approached the young elf who was frightened by his appearance. Seeing her afraid made him feel bad, so he deactivated his hollow mask and knelt down. "Are you alright? Are you hurt?" Seishin asked her as he held out his hand. The elf was nervous at first, but she sees that he's not like those men from KUROINU, so she kindly took his hand as he helped her up. "Thank you for saving me," the young elf said. "My name is Evelyn Celebrian." "I'm glad you're safe, Evelyn." Seishin smiled calmly. "My name is Seishin Samyu." Seishin Samyu. Evelyn looked at him for a minute before she smiled and hugged him, earning a dark red blush from him. "My MSTR. MSTR?" he asked. "Yes, and now that you saved me, I want to repay you. By serving you for the rest of my life." Evelyn replied as she got on her knees, bowing before him. "Please take me, I promise I'll serve you well." Seishin pondered over what she said as he looked at her as she looked up at him with a smile on her face. He couldn't say no to an offer like that on look away from an appealing woman like her. To top it off, either Volt or his grunts may be on the way soon. Seishin has made his decision. "I couldn't say no to someone like you, plus you'll be safe from KUROINU," Seishin said as he held out his hand. "Welcome aboard, Evelyn." "Thank you, my MSTR." Evelyn replied as she hugged him tightly before the two ran off. Shortly after, Yoriichi, Rukia, Chloe, Ranjaku, Ichigo, Nozomi and Yachiru arrived into the barn with Maya, Roro, Kagaya and her maidens. "Alright, we have to get back to the chapel," Rukia said. "Where's Seishin? He should be back by now," Yoriichi said until she and the others turned to see Seishin with Evelyn. "Sorry we're late," Seishin said. "Seishin, who is she?" Nozomi asked him. "Sorry about that. Everyone, this is Evelyn." Seishin replied, "She's a dark elf, like Chloe." "A dark elf?" Chloe questioned as she approached Seishin and looked at the young elf. "Chloe?" Evelyn called her. "No way. Evie." Chloe gasped as the two hugged each other. "You know her, Chloe?" Seishin asked. "She was one of my closest friends before the war." Chloe replied before turning to her elf friend. "I thought she was lost in the war." "I thought you were, too." Evelyn replied as well. "While I do love the lovely reunion, we need to get out of here before more of those lewd men come here." "Right. Everyone, grab hold of each other." Seishin replied before his inner hollow contacted him. "Seishin, glad I made it to you in time," he said. "Hollow, what's up?" Seishin asked. "While you were saving them, I did a little patrolling and encountered someone. Who did you find? Seishin wondered. Have Kagaya explain what happened, and you'll have your answer. Hollow replied before ending his communication. Just then, he heard strong knocking from outside the barn doors. DMN. Everyone, get ready to jump. Seishin said before he summoned his hollow mask. Just then, the barn doors were knocked down and Volt and more of his men appeared. He was shocked to see Maya, Roro, Kagaya and her maidens in his possession. Not this time. After them. Volt cried as he ordered his men to capture them. Jump now. Seishin cried as he and the others jumped forward and slipped into the closest biggest shadow they could go, seconds before Volt's men tried to catch them. Volt grew enraged at how the masked man slipped through his fingers so easily. First the elves, then Alicia and Prim, now he has Maya, Kagaya and Roro. Volt screamed in rage as he drew his longsword and sliced the support beams of the empty barn before he and his men left. Find out where they are at. Volt ordered his men who grew nervous at their leader getting even angrier. I'm going to be away for a little while. Have more guards on the remaining princesses. If anyone fails to capture that man or any of his members when I return, I will personally kill you. Volt and Kin got on their horses and rode out of the district, muttering and swearing under his breath. One of his remaining commanders watched as Volt leaves before turning to his followers. He was a 7-foot-tall, bald-headed muscular man with a patch stitched to his right eye. He glared at them with his cold ice blue eye and a grimacing scowl on his face. You heard the man. Go to the remaining castles and protect his slaves. The commanding lieutenant cried, which they all scrambled about and ran. If anyone fails at their job, I'll kill them myself. The bald man growled as he looked at the destroyed cages and the blood-splattered windows at the empty house down the road. I'll find that masked man, if it's the last thing I'll do. The man thought. And when I do, I'll rip his mask off, expose him to the town, and then I'll give him a slow and painful death in front of the girls he had stolen from us. A few hours had passed since Seishin and the others had left, for Rad Olga was out in the backyard meditating with her staff on her legs. As a slight breeze passed by, she then heard distorted rumbling from the trees in front of her. As she opened her eyes, she saw Seishin and the others coming out of the shadows. Seishin immediately dehollowified, seconds after he got everyone else out of the shadows. The young man panted strong as he tries to catch his breath while Olga ran to help him up. Are you alright, Seishin-sama? Olga asked him. Don't worry about me, Olga. We got Kagaya, her shrine maidens, Roro, and Maya. Seishin replied. Get Aaliyah, Alicia and Prim and help the girls into the bathing chamber. We'll help too. Rukia said as she, Ranjaku, Nozomi, Yoriichi, Chloe and Yachiru all helped follow Olga into the chapel. It seems you're not fully used to maintaining your stamina while shadow traveling, huh? Ichigo asked him as he approached him. Pretty much, Ichigo. Still, if you and Zangetsu, well, the hollow in you, want to learn to do this skill, we can teach you. Thanks, but I'll pass. Ichigo said as he took Seishin's right arm over his shoulder. Come on, we better get you inside. All right. Seishin replied, and just as Ichigo was going to say another thing. And yes, I'll have you, Ranjaku, Nozomi and Yachiru be introduced to the others. An hour had passed as Roro, Kagaya with her shrine maidens, and Maya were being cleaned and restored to before Volt broke them in. But just then, something about Maya caught Aaliyah's attention. She had even tried to use her abilities to restore Maya herself, but nothing happened. Seeing that she needs help, she used her magic to dress her before she immediately ran to find Seishin. Seishin! Aaliyah cried out, which got his attention. We got a problem. What's up? Seishin wondered. It's Maya, I got her fully restored, but it seems she's not mentally recovered. Aaliyah answered. I tried healing her with my spells, but nothing happened. We better look into this. Seishin's hollow said. Right. Seishin replied as he followed Aaliyah into the bathing room. Chloe and Olga, Alicia and Prim, as well as Yoriichi and the others all followed them into the room, only to see Maya in her clothes. Seishin knelt down beside her and looked to see her in comatose. You are right about her being not mentally recovered. Seishin said. It's like you said, Maya was violated both virginally and mentally. I guess I have no other choice. Seishin sighed as he took his top half of his shihaka show off and he placed his hand over Maya's face, his mind reflecting on the time head captain Yamamoto told him the story that his grandfather saved him, the other captains and the other fallen Shinigami using that very move, and died with a smile on his face. Ichigo and the others were surprised that Seishin's going to be using that move. Seishin, are you going to use that? Yoriichi asked him with concern. Seishin, it's too risky. You'll die doing this. Rukia warned him. I have to. I can't leave Maya like this. Seishin said as BLD red stripes appeared on his body, looping over each other at the same time, marking him in a tribal fashion stretching out until they're all connected to two rings on his body, his chest and his back, around where his heart is at. Seishin closed his eyes as BLD red eyeshadow appeared on the outer edges of his eyes as well as a small diamond-shaped mark appeared on his forehead. Seishin, what are you going to do? Aaliyah asked him. What are these markings on your body? Since your spells won't break her out of this, I am going to use the one spell I said to you and the girls when I told you my life story. Seishin said. My grandfather had used this move to revive the fallen soul reapers in a war. The ultimate philosopher's stone. Yoriichi and the others know what I mean. Seishin. Alicia grew worried for both him attempting to save Maya, and Maya herself, stuck in comatose. Wish me luck. Seishin closed his eyes as he took a deep breath before opening his eyes looking down at Maya with ambition. Now, Sabatial. Everyone watched as the marks on Seishin's body glowed red as Sabatial is now in effect. At the same time, he felt the pain of the ability gripping around his heart, but he mustered up as much strength to fight it through. He then closed his eyes as time slowed down to a stop, freezing everyone and everything around him before he transferred his subconscious into Maya's subconsciousness. When he got there, he saw that he's standing on a battlefield. In front of him was full of dead bodies, dropped weapons, and in the center of it all was a town with a dark castle in the center. As he saw the castle, Seishin's inner hollow appeared beside him in his full physical appearance. So this is Maya's subconsciousness, huh? Seishin's hollow asked. You've used Sabatial, didn't you? Yeah, to both questions. Seishin replied, hiding the regret of using the ability. I bet this is the same battle-scarred field that Maya had encountered Volt for the first time, according to what Aaliyah told me. It's sickening for a man like Volt, turning women into SEC slaves by having him, his men and many orcs or minotaurs RPE them. Seishin's hollow growled as he tightened his fists. Seishin, let's go save that mercenary. Let's. Seishin replied as he and his inner hollow both ran through the battlefield with their Zanpactus in hand. Erupt, Retanuva. Both Seishin and his hollow with their respective swords were enveloped in flames. A second later, Seishin appeared carrying their flame-colored cleaver blade of a Zanpactu with his hollow mask and cloak on, while his hollow appeared with a hollowified variant of his Zanpactu. The two ran through the empty streets until Seishin stopped as he sensed a familiar presence. Seishin's inner hollow stopped as he saw Seishin looking around. Hey, come on. The castle is nearby. Seishin's hollow cried. I sent someone nearby. Follow me. Seishin said as he and his hollow jumped into the nearest shadow and used shadow travel. The two flew through the shadow realm until they saw a girl, hiding in the alleys. He motioned his hollow to follow him up towards the location. The two then sprouted out of the large shadow behind the red-haired girl. She turned and screamed in shock when she saw them behind her. Stay away from me. The red-haired girl cried. Volt! Volt! Wait, we won't hurt you. Seishin said as he immediately deholified. You're Maya, right? How did you know my name? The now named Maya asked while holding her sword out, defending herself. My name is Seishin. Seishin Samyu. He introduced. I'm a soul reaper. Me and my inner hollow here are here to rescue you. You're here to rescue me? Maya asked. Why would some men in pajamas save someone like me? Maya, Volt's not the type of man that's interested in romance. Seishin's hollow said while they ignored the insult to their uniforms. He succeeded in declaring a nationwide SEC service law and turning all the women, including you, into mindless SEC slaves that plays one role, servicing men. Really, Volt doing something like declaring a sex service law for the nation? Maya laughed at them for a second, though Seishin and his hollow weren't laughing. As she saw the red-haired man and his hollow look-alike remained unmoved, both her smile and her laugh had faded. Wait, you're serious? Hollow, did you record what Aaliyah had explained to us when we first got here? Seishin asked. I already had. Seishin's hollow said as he held out his hands, forming a black ball of energy, shaping into a screen, and projected everything that Aaliyah had told Seishin and his hollow. Maya took it lightly at first until she saw everything Volt had done. She even had seen him and his band of mercenaries violating all the women, even Maya herself. She saw how Volt succeeded with the SEC service law and turned Salinas into a nation of service, or what Volt calls CTRY. Seishin's hollow finished playing the projection and the ball of energy diminished. The two then looked at Maya, who was speechless at what had happened. This is the truth, Maya. Seishin said to her. No. I don't believe you. You're lying. Maya said as she fled away from Seishin and his hollow. The hollow was planning to stop her, but Seishin stopped him. Why are you stopping me? Seishin's hollow asked. We have to save Maya. And we will, but we'll follow her from the shadows. Seishin said. Maya will soon see the truth from Volt himself and will make it happen. Come on, follow me. Seishin said as he sank into the shadows and used shadow travel. Seishin's hollow figured out what Seishin means and then followed his Shinigami half. A short moment later, Maya ran into the castle, looking for Volt. She ran through the hallways until she found him in front of the Great Hall entrance. Volt, I need to ask you something. Maya said. What is that you need to ask? Volt asked Maya. I was wondering what you would do when this war is over. She asked. Unknowns to Maya and Volt, Seishin and his inner hollow arrived to the same hall they're in. The two looked down at them from the shadows lingering in the ceiling. Seeing this as an opportunity, the two nodded as they have Maya see the truth through Volt's mind. What I would do, you ask? Volt questioned with a calm smirk. I would give this nation the peace it wants. I would govern a new law giving us and the citizens of Eostia the peace they needed. As Volt continued to tell Maya, a screen made of black energy sprouted out of Volt's shadow, connected to his mind using Seishin's Ryatsu. The projection silently began playing as Volt continued, showing her his true nature and true intentions. Maya gasped as Volt's true secrets were unfolded. Volt turned to see the screen playing with a shocked look on his face before the screen dissolved into thin air. Volt, is this true? Maya asked him with worry on her face as Volt remained silent. Is it true that this new law would mean turning us women into slaves for men to please them to their every whim? Volt remained quiet as Maya continued asking him. Looks like my secret's out. Oh well. Were the words Volt had thought in his mind as his scowl turned into a wry smile. Maya scoffed as she ran past him and ran into the Great Hall. She stopped dead in her tracks as she saw his band of mercenaries in the room, circling around and watching a live performance. Faint moans from a woman being violated to no end were heard. She pushed through the men until she froze when she saw who those mercenaries were violating. She was shocked that the woman there plowing their musky man-meat was Maya herself, 3 years older. "Is that, me?" Maya gasped. "So you finally found out my true secrets," Volt said as he walked into the great hall. "Like what you see, my dear. This is just the beginning." "Beginning of what?" Maya asked. "A new nation," Volt answered. "A nation of service, where the men can mount any woman whenever they want. Once Eostia is conquered, I will stretch my declaration all across the world. I call it, Project Continental. I won't let you get away with this." Maya growled as she gripped her sword, preparing to fight Volt. "Stupid girl, what makes you think the likes of you would stop my plans?" Volt laughed as he and his men surrounded both her and her future self. "I'll do what I can to stop you," Maya said as she stood her ground while watching all of them drawing closer to them. "How can you stop my plans, yet alone stop me?" Volt wore a smug smirk. "She won't be alone, you pathetic bstrd." A familiar voice echoed the main hall until they all saw someone coming out of Maya's shadow. The same redhead mercenary turned to see Seishin in his hollow mask emerging behind her with his zanpakuto in hand. "And who might you be?" "Her guardian angel?" Volt rhetorically asked, which he and his men followed with a group laugh. "Humph, actually yes. I am her guardian angel." Seishin replied with a rhetorical answer which made Volt growl. "A smart butt, huh?" Volt glared before he snapped his fingers, making his men attack him. "Maya! Duck, now!" Seishin cried as Maya did what he said before he did a 360-degree Sentaiyu, incinerating everyone except Volt. "Whoa! You're really good," Maya said. "You bstrd!" Volt yelled. "You dare get in the way of stopping my plans?" "Yeah, got a problem?" Seishin rhetorically asked as he glared at him with a cold stare. "Besides, you're gonna die with a blade through your chest." "Oh yeah? I don't see a blade through my Volt froze as what Seishin had predicted, happened. A blade appeared through his chest. "You do now," Seishin said. Volt turned to see the person responsible for this, Seishin's hollow with his hollow mask and opposite-colored cloak. As Volt shifted his eyes back at the masked man, he tries to raise his hand, reaching out to him until his body fell limp and his body disintegrated into nothing but air. A short while later, Seishin along with his hollow holding Maya's older self and younger Maya all walked out of the now empty castle. With each inch, Maya's mind began restoring to normal. "That was fun while it lasted," Seishin's hollow said as he returned his zanpakuto back into his sheath. "Yeah, nicely done, hollow," Seishin replied as he walked over to younger Maya. "You alright?" "I don't know," Maya replied as she sadly sighed after what had happened. "I can't believe that Volt had succeeded with declaring that nationwide SEC law." "You were right. I should have believed you when you first explained it to me." "It's not your fault," Seishin said. "It's strong to believe someone would do something bad like that, when you're in love." "So, what happened to Celestine, Aaliyah, and the others?" Maya asked. "Volt turned the girls into SEC slaves," Seishin replied. "Only Aaliyah did escape Volt's grasp. Since the time she summoned me to this world, I was able to save Chloe, Olga, Alicia and Prim, and now I just rescued Kagaya and her maidens, Roro and you. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do." Maya looked down for a brief minute with her fists clenched and tears running down her face. Mixed emotions were swirling in her mind, rage, sadness, and now loneliness. Seishin looked at her with a concerned look, his inner hollow turned to him and nodded. Seeing that he doesn't want to see her alone, he walked up and embraced her in a hug. His arms wrapped around her waist, surprising the potential mercenary. Maya's eyes, both her younger self and her older self, were widened as Seishin of all males, including the mercenaries of KUROINU, sharing sympathy for a lone ex-mercenary. "I'm sorry that you're feeling this way, Maya," Seishin said. "It's like I said before, you won't be alone. From now on, I'll be your guardian angel." Seishin, Maya said as she looked at the young man, smiling at her. It wasn't long until Maya's older self called out to her younger self as she held out her hand. "I believe, he will deliver us, a new hope," Maya's older self said while Seishin's hollow was restoring her stamina using his spirit energy. "It's time, we go with him." "Are you sure?" Younger Maya asked, and her older self replied with a nod before her younger self grabbed her older self's hand. A bright light enveloped the two as they merged and became the current Maya that Seishin saved. "So Maya, what do you say?" Seishin asked as he looked at her with his left hand on his hip and his hollow smiled while crossing his arms. "I say, sign me up, Seishin Dano." A knowing smirk was worn on Maya's face. "And thank you, for saving me. I'll be honored to serve you, with my life and save our home." Seishin in his inner hollow calmly smiled as they held out his hand, motioning Maya to take his hand. Maya calmly chuckled as she took his hand before a bright light enveloped the two. Back in the chapel, everything began moving back to normal as Seishin's Sabatial was deactivated. Maya slowly opened her eyes, freeing her from her coma, and Seishin opened her eyes soon after. Yoriichi immediately helped Seishin back on his feet. "Seishin, are you okay?" Yoriichi asked him. "I'm fine. Really, I'm." Seishin suddenly felt the aftereffect of using Sabatial. The young man fell to his knees as he coughed up a puddle of blood the size of his hand. "Seishin!" Ichigo cried as he, Rukia, Ranjaku, Nozomi, Yachiru, Aliyah and the women Seishin saved from Vault had ran to him, only to see him cringe in pain from his aftereffect from Sabatial. Maya was last to help him. "Seishin Dano!" Maya cried as she, Chloe, Kagaya, Evelyn and Ruru watched him. "Seishin Sama!" Evelyn cried. "Ma, Ia." Seishin weakly said as his vision grew blurry. "I'm glad, you're safe." Seishin grinned and chuckled before his vision blacked out before passing out from the pain. Maya, Evelyn, everyone all tried to wake him up but to no avail. The young red-haired Shinigami was breathing slowly, he remained unconscious, motionless, but alive still. Elsewhere in the district of Rad, in the dead of night, multiple men from KUROINU were laying on the ground, lifeless on the blood-stained ground. Multiple cuts and stab wounds were left in every dead man. In the center of the area was a tall but appealing warrior woman. She was a gorgeously tan-skinned woman, much like Yoriichi. Her soft flesh and rich curves were to die for, as they were covering her firm muscles. Her legs were long, her hips were wide, her pink hair was long, reaching down her was slim and her bosom was more than bountiful. They bounced up and down with each confident step she took. That very woman wore a skin-tight LTHR robe that showed off her legs, arms, stomach, her underbobs and her groin. Alongside it, she wore black panties that barely covered her lower region, long black gloves with purple outlines and matching thigh-high-heeled boots. On her back was a long red cape and in her hand was a long sword, a black hilt with a light orange blade, impaled a pinned man against a wooden wall of a house. "Where is this man?" she calmly asked as her face showing a serious expression and her golden eyes glaring down at the pinned man, enduring the pain from the sword through his chest, barely hitting any vital spots. In her hands holds a picture of Vault. What are you, dressed like that?" That one man questioned. "Are you some warrior? Or a simple wear?" Frustrated, she pushed her blade deeper inside him. The man screamed as he felt immense pain, the sword as the edge was nearing his heart. He tried to endure the pain, but deep down, he grew afraid of her, afraid of dying to her. "Now tell me again, where is this man?" The pink-haired woman continued to ask him. He's heading to Dragondala. The man answered, which the pink-haired woman then pulled her sword out. She scowled before turning her sights to the direction her map is showing. You, Beach. Do you really think you will stop Lord Volt? Just who the hell do you think you are? The injured man cried out. To answer your first question, I am, but you won't live to see it. The same man gasped, and the pink-haired woman answered before he met his unfortunate end when she decapitated his head with a swift cut. And to answer your second question. My name is Ingrid. It has been 2 weeks since Seishin and his team saved Maya, Roro, Kagaya and her maidens, as well as Chloe's closest friend Evelyn. Shortly since then, Seishin had used Sabatial to save Maya in her mind. After Maya came to, she was greeted by Aaliyah and the others before turning to thank Seishin, only to see him on his knee, coughing up blood. Seishin took one last look at Maya, glad that she's well and safe, before the young man passed out. During the 2 weeks, Yoriichi introduced Ichigo, Nozomi, Rukia, Yachiru and Ranjaku to Chloe, Olga, Alicia, Prim, Roro, Kagaya, Maya, Evelyn and Aaliyah. After they all got to explain how they all know Seishin, Evelyn was able to tell Chloe and Olga that there are other dark elves that were safely hidden away during the war. Olga and Chloe were relieved that their existence weren't on the brink. Later that same day, Ichigo went to Aaliyah and suggested her to bring over a certain friend of his. He told her that she is a great healer and would be beneficial for them. The 3rd week came and Seishin was currently sleeping soundly in his bed as the sun shined down through the curtains. Just then, a silhouette of a woman appeared over the sleeping red-haired man. She raised her hands before taking a deep breath. Esoten kiss hun, I reject. She said as a glowing half-oval barrier appeared over him. When he came to, he saw that he was in his bed, and when he looked up, though his vision's blurry at first, he saw Ichigo next, a burnt orange-haired beauty standing over him as she was healing him. I must be dreaming. Seishin said weakly. It feels like I am back in Karakura town, because I thought I am seeing Orihime, healing me. Seishin, you're not dreaming, you're not in Karakura town, and Orihime is really here. Ichigo said. Seishin was still half tired as his vision began to clear before he closed his eyes once more until he took in Ichigo's words. A second later, his eyes were shot open as he saw Orihime standing next to Ichigo. What? Orihimao. Seishin groaned as he felt some pain inside his body. What the heck happened to me? It felt like my ribs were crushed by a truck. Save your strength, Seishin. Aaliyah said as she appeared next to the orange-haired couple. Ever since you used Sabatial, you lost a lung in exchange of saving Maya. Luckily Ichigo came to me and suggested to bring Orihime over here. He said that she's an amazing healer, and after what I am seeing, I am glad Ichigo suggested her. It seems your inner hollow had saved you as well. Ichigo added. Luckily he did help with prolonging your life until Orihime came. Well, I'm glad he did. What you both did. Thanks, Orihime. Seishin said. It's not a problem, kid. Seishin's hollow mentally replied with a calm smile worn on his face. You're very welcome, Seishin. Orihime said before 2 small fairy spirits appeared beside her left ear. One was a female with navy blue hair that wore a pink dress longer than her body with a salmon-colored overcoat wore over her head. The other was a blonde male with a topknot. He wore a robe that stretched down past his thighs with big sleeves. Shunno and I am. Orihime gasped. What are you two doing out? We wanted to see how Mr. Samyu's doing, I am said. We also want to talk to him as well as his inner hollow. Shunno said. It's been a while, hasn't it, Shunno and I am. Seishin said as he saw the 2 fairies smiling down at him. You as well, Mr. Samyu. I am said. I'm glad you're healed up safely, Seishin. Shunno added. It seems you had used that cursed ability. What was it called again? It's Sabatial. Seishin replied as he began breathing normally. It's a dangerous ability that us, Samyos, were cursed with. It allows us to grant a wish and either save or restore someone, in exchange for a part of us. My ancestors had it, my grandfather had it, and now I have it. Still, I am glad that the curse skipped my parents. I'm sorry to hear that. I said. We want to do something to help find a loophole against that ability. And we have just the thing. Shunno calmly smiled as he and I held out their small hands. Seishin, hold out your hand. Seishin wondered what the two have that could improve Seishin's recovery whenever he plans to use Sabatial next time. Curious, Seishin held out his hand, reaching out for the two fairies until his middle finger touched their hands. Just then, he felt a soothing pulse of energy coursing through his body. What we did was give you and your inner hollow a sample of our combined healing skill, Esoden Kishun. I answered his follow-up question. Your inner hollow can heal wounds and other body parts, but he cannot heal your heart or other internal organs. At least from what I heard. So we gave you a sample of our ability to help restore your organs. Shunno said. I hope you'll find a way to break Sabatial. We'll be rooting for you, Seishin. Shunno, thank you for what you did. Seishin said as his inner hollow possessed his left eye. I'm sure we'll put your power to good use. Seishin's inner hollow said as he and Seishin shared a warm smile. The two fairies bowed before they returned into Oriheim's Shun Arika. Unaware of the three of them, Yoriichi and the others were leaning against the door to Seishin's room, overhearing what happened. Chloe, Olga, and the other princesses felt worried about his curse. Seishin's family has a curse. Roro was first to question. Yeah, Chloe replied, he told me and Olga-sama about his past after he saved us. He told me about this a while after he saved me and Prim. Alicia added. Poor Seishin. He has this curse that could result with him dying, but he still wants to save us and keep us safe. We should do something for him, Wani-sama. Prim said. I agree. Kagaya chimed in. We may have known little of him since he saved us, we should get to know him first. And we will. Maya said. We'll reintroduce ourselves to him, once he's able to have company. Just then, Aliyah opened the door to Seishin's room and saw the other girls standing closely to the entrance. You want to talk with him? Aliyah asked them before a calm smile was shown. Well, Seishin's feeling better now. You're welcome to come inside. The girls nodded as they all walked into his room. When they saw the red-haired man in his bed, they were happy to see him feeling well. Maya and Evelyn were the first to rush in and wrap their arms around him. Ichigo blushed at what Evelyn was wearing, but was happy to see the other girls feeling relieved. We'll let you get reacquainted with your team, Seishin. Ichigo said. Let us know if you need anything. Oriheim cheerfully said. I'll be in the kitchen, helping Aliyah with prepping for dinner. I will. Thank you, Oriheim. Seishin happily thanked them with a smile on his face. Oriheim and Ichigo nodded before the two left the room, looking for Yoriichi, Rukia, and the others. Mstr. Evelyn cried as tears ran down her face. Seishin Dano. Are you alright? Maya asked. I am feeling just fine. Thank you, all of you. Seishin replied, which made all the girls smile. I was worried about you. Chloe cried out. Don't ever scare us like that, you baka. I'm sorry, Chloe. Seishin answered. I didn't mean to worry about you all. But I am glad I am back on my feet now. Seishin then turned to Roro, Kagaya and her maidens. Kagaya and her maidens all knelt down before him and Roro waved while wearing her toothy grin. You must be Seishin. Kagaya said. I heard about you from Aliyah and Maya. Though your friends did save us, you were the one who planned the rescue. For that we are forever grateful for your heroics. You're very welcome. Seeing you and the other girls safe now is all that matters. Seishin calmly replied as Kagui's began to blush at the way Seishin smiled. He then turned to the young scantily clad ringlet with her wolf tail wagging. My name is Roro. Nice to meet you, Seishin. She said as she shook his hand. Maya is right about one thing, you are much handsome than those assholes that followed Volt. Seishin stammered before he chuckled sheepishly while blushing a light pink. Well, thank you for the compliment. Since you and your friend saved us, we'll be honored to lend our strength to defeat Volt. Kagaya said. Oh, yeah, I forgot something. Seishin said. My inner hollow told me to have you explain what happened that led up to Volt claiming you as his property. It's because he has someone that you know that double-crossed you all and sided with Volt. Someone I know? Kagaya questioned until she then remembered the person who he was talking about. Her calm look was replaced with anger as she stood up, determined to deliver judgment. Take me to him, please. Kagaya said. As you wish, ma'am. Seishin replied as he led Kagaya and her maidens down into the basement. Seishin then walked into the cell room with Kagaya until they stood only a foot away from the entrance. Where is he, Seishin? Kagaya asked him with a look of concern and anger. I got it. Seishin replied. Alright, Hollow. Show us our guest. Seishin's Hollow took possession of his body and his eyes changed from his normal red eyes to the infamous black sclera and red cornea that are his hollowified eyes. Hollow smirked as he slammed his hands on the ground and his shadow stretched out towards the wall. Just then Kagaya saw a chained-up man seeping out of the darkness. Kagaya wasn't surprised to see that it is the same person who sided with Volt and used demonic insects to impregnate her. He's all yours, Seishin. Seishin's Hollow said as he slowly began to let Seishin regain control. Show him the error of his ways. Seishin regained his control of his mind and body as he glared at the man with the bandaged face and hands while wearing a black cloak. Seishin shifted his eyes to see Kagaya's fists balling up tightly. Shimulhaza. Kagaya called his name which he looked up. He was shocked to see Kagaya all better than ever. Kagaya. Shimulhaza gasped. Mill lady, you're alive and well. Save it. Kagaya rebuked. We used to be friends, but it all changed. You sold our village and us to Volt as well as used my body to breed with demonic insects. I will never forgive what you have done. Shimulhaza growled as Kagaya rebuked at her former friend. As he turned to the man that led a team to save them, he glared with a grim look as he struggled to free himself. Seishin looked back at the man who two-timed Kagaya to join a bigger source of power. You're the one who restored her to normal. Shimulhaza yelled with bloodlust in his voice. What have you done? I could have overcome the gods, using her as my vessel to attain it. You, becoming a god among the gods. Don't make my laugh. Seishin said. An insect like you wanting to attain a higher power is doomed from the start. Once a bug, always a bug, and bugs that irritate me, always get stepped on. Thanks to Seishin and his friends saving us, me and my maidens shall lend our strength and support to defeating all of KUROINU. Kagaya said as she crossed her arms over her ample bosom. Then she turned her attention to Seishin. Seishin, I'll let you decide how to execute him. Yes, Kagaya. Thank you. Seishin replied. Shimulhaza watched in sheer rage as a dark aura enveloped him and forcefully freed him of the chains. Seishin immediately turned to see him not only free, but starting to mutate. His arms and legs turned into spider legs with 4 more sprouting out of his hips. His eyes turned red and grew to the size of melons, his mouth sprouted 2 feelers and his body grew big, black and veiny. He then sprouted 7 more small demon spiders from his behind, all gazing at her and the other maidens. Kagaya, I will make you pay for insulting me. Shimulhaza roared, making her and the girls tremble. I will breed you and your girls once more and overcome the gods, just like I said I would. I had waited 5 years for it to happen and now, I will make it happen, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. Shimulhasa spat out a ball of sticky web at Kagaya's feet, trapping her in that spot. The mutated spider leapt towards the trapped shrine maiden with bloodshot eyes filled with lust. Just as he was inches from the helpless maiden who closed her eyes in fear, Seishin used his flash step and reappeared in front of him with his Zanpakuto in its Shurkai form in hand. The bangs of his hair covered his cold eyes as he gripped the spider's neck tightly. Seishin summoned his hollow mask while his hollow used the young man's shadow to form tentacles, capturing the other spiders and pinning them against the wall at the same time forming blockades against the sides of the cell. I am tired of these motherfrickin' spiders in this motherfrickin' room. Seishin muttered before his Zanpakuto was enveloped in flames. Hey, Shimulhasa. It's time I exterminate you filthy spiders. You will never harm another woman again. DMNU. Shimulhasa cried before Seishin threw him back, head first against the wall. Sentaiyu. Seishin cried as he unleashed his signature move. Shimulhasa didn't have time to scream before he and his little demon spiders were incinerated in the attack. Seishin turned back to Kagaya and freed her from the sticky web while deactivating his hollow mask. A tentacle stretched out of Seishin's shadow, in its grasp was a scroll. Seishin believed that Shimulhasa was holding it, but seeing that it's important, he'll hold on to it for him and Aliyah to read later. Are you okay, Kagaya? Seishin asked her as she helped her up. I am now, thanks to you. Kagaya blushed a light pink when she looked at the young man standing so close to her. Kagaya shyly looked down before she and Seishin walked out of the cell room. Her maidens all rushed to hug their leader and Seishin calmly smiled as they were safe and sound. Shortly after, they all walked out of the basement and stopped in the hallways. I'm gonna go get myself freshened up. I'll see you and your maidens later, alright? Seishin said as he waved to the girls and started to walk off, until Kagaya grabbed his sleeve to get his attention. Seishin then turned around and looked at them. Though my gods wanted me to keep my purity, they also want me to join with someone that will protect us. Kagaya said. Are you saying what I think you're saying? He asked her, which she replied with a nod. Yes, Seishin. I want you to be my chosen one. Kagaya said as she held his hands. You and your friends saved us from Volt's minions and brought us to a safe place. Then you saved us once more from my former friend. For that, me and my followers wished to serve you. Seishin watched as Kagaya and her followers knelt down before him. The young man blushed a light pink as Kagaya chose him as her chosen one. Seeing her safe was his reward, but being her chosen one was surprising. Please, Seishin, one of Kagaya's maidens called out to him. She was a dark brown-haired woman with her headband behind her two long bangs of hair. Not only she talked with our god, but we talked with her as well. You showed us that you are more than capable to protect all of us and get our homes back. We would be honored if you were Kagaya-sama's chosen one. Still, he can't say no to wanting to protect her and her followers. His decision was simple as he knelt down and held Kagaya's hands. I would be honored to be your chosen one. Seishin replied, which Kagaya smiled. Shortly after, Seishin was in the chapel's hot springs. It was as large and vast and designed just like the hot springs in his timeline. Embracing in the relief, he removed his clothes and wore only a towel around his waist. He then walked into the large hot springs and sat in the steaming water. Ah, this feels nice. Seishin said to himself. I'm really impressed that Celestine and the others had some friends in hiding to help build this. Plenty of room, places to relax, to eat, sleep. I gotta say, this is a perfect safe haven. MSTR. Seishin suddenly sat up when he heard Evelyn's voice calling him. Seishin started to panic, looking around for a place to hide. It wasn't long until that very dark elf spotted him in the very hot springs. There you are, my MSTR. Hello, Evelyn. What brings you to the hot springs? Seishin shyly asked as he looked at her with a dark-colored blush on his face. Evelyn gazed at Seishin wearing only a towel around his waist. The dark elf looked at him with a lustful gaze in her eyes, a calm smile with a dark pink blush coloring her cheeks. Her eyes gazed at his blush on his face, the scars from months of battle on his arms and chest, and his choice of wearing. Evelyn chuckled as she sashayed towards the young man and led him into a room with a soft bed before she stripped off her already revealable clothing. She then removed Seishin's towel and gazed at his semi-erected before her. She was mesmerized at how endowed Seishin was before she took her right hand and started stroking his until it became strong like iron. Evelyn. Seishin looked at her with a blush on his face. Please, Mstr. Evelyn gazed at her Mstr with love and want in her eyes while she stroked Seishin strong. Please allow me to thank you for what you did those 3 weeks ago. Evelyn. Seishin felt the love and longing in her heart, just from looking into her eyes. Before Seishin could say something, a soft gasp was made as Evelyn started licking the underside of his like a puppy drinking her bowl of milk. I couldn't think of a way to pay you back for all the selflessness you've done. Evelyn said with a smile on her face before she continued pleasing Seishin's strong pages. After she swirled her tongue around the tip of Seishin's strong meat, she took the tip of Seishin's PP and planted it in her mouth. I swore I would serve you for the rest of my life when you saved me. I want to give you everything. Her body and her melons began bouncing with each second that she sucked on his strong pages. With each bounce and each second she tasted Seishin's strong meat, her entire body grew aroused, wanting more of him. Every inch of him filling her. Her tongue swirling around Seishin's as she sucks on it, her blush getting darker and her mind getting foggy. All she wants is to satisfy Seishin with every fiber of her being. Evelyn. It feels so good. Seishin said as he started moaning a little louder as Evelyn tightened her lips around his thickness and went as deep as she could with her nose taking in Seishin's scent. She glided back up with a loud pop while looking at her Mstr. She smiled as she placed her massive eye-cup melons and wrapped Seishin's strong PP in between them, earning a from the young man. I can make it even better. Evelyn said as she started kneading her melons on the young man's member before he started pumping into her mouth. Seishin and Evelyn began to together, Seishin, moaning from Evelyn kneading her melons on his, and Evelyn from the feel of Seishin's hardness pumping into her mouth. The young dark elf closed her eyes as the lust grew while she slides her melons against Seishin's PP. Evelyn. I am about to come. Seishin cried as Evelyn looked up at her lover, wanting him to spray his thick substance on her face and melons. She continued sliding her melons against his PP while he continues pumping it into her mouth until Seishin groaned, releasing a torrent of cum all over her melons and face. Seishin panted strong from the load of cum he had released. Evelyn on the other hand chuckled as she felt the warmth of his cum covering her body. So, this is a human's cum, Mstr's cum, Evelyn thought as she chuckled as she began cupping her melons and licking off her Mstr's cum. Seishin watched as she looked up at him while she licked her melons clean. Evelyn, that was amazing. Seishin complimented as he quickly regained his stamina thanks to his inner hollow. Please allow me to do the same to you. Mstr, yes, please. I want your embrace. Evelyn said before Seishin got on top of her. He planted his hands on her melons, kneading the softness like a professional, earning a from the dark elf. Mstr, it feels good. Please, tease my melons more. Evelyn continued to as Seishin continued massaging her mounds. His fingers dug into her mounds as he fondles them and teases her dark pink nipples by pinching them lightly between his index and thumb. Shortly after, he planted his lips on her right mound before starting to suckle on her NPL. Evelyn starts to softly while holding Seishin's head against her chest and stroking his soft red hair as she watches him give both her melons that much affection. As the young man continues to SCK on her melons, Evelyn felt something coming out, as she gasped, her massive mounds began leaking BRST milk. Seishin was surprised at first that she was lactating, but after his taste buds felt the drop of her milk, he couldn't resist the flavor, so he decided to drink as much of it. He took both of her melons and planted his lips on them, before he started sucking and licking them. "You love my milk, Mstr. I'm so happy," Evelyn said as she smiled. Seishin continued to drink her milk while he slid his right hand down to her wet folds and brushed his fingers against her CLTRS, earning a louder from the young elf. After he drank as much as he can take, he pulled his lips from her milk-covered nipples and lowered down to her exposed folds. Seishin gazed at her exposed lower region as he opened her folds before he leaned in and started licking against her CLT. Evelyn mewed while she massaged her milky melons as she watched her Mstr lick and prod against her folds. He then slid his index finger inside her tight entrance, teasing her inner walls while he licked her CLT. The young elf began to lose herself in her lust as she moaned even louder. Her crotch began to leak her juices out even more than usual as Seishin licked her CLT and teased her entrance. "Mstr, it feels so good. I can't take it anymore." Evelyn suddenly flipped Seishin over on the sofa and got on top of him. "Whoa!" Seishin gasped as he didn't see him being flipped over with her elf lover on top. "I want you inside me, Mstr. Evelyn said as she opened her drenched pink folds. "I want you to be my first." Seishin calmly nodded as he let her slide her wet snatch down on his strong rod. The tip was the first she inserted. Inch by inch she took in Seishin's strong rod, enduring the pain of giving her virginity to her lover. As she slid the last few inches of her lover's hardness inside her wet snatch, she froze as she felt the painful recoil, only to have it melt away as she saw Seishin use his spirit energy to heal her vaginal pain. "We're finally one, Evelyn," Seishin said as he looked at her with a smile on his face. Evelyn smiled back as she leaned down and the two kissed passionately, their eyes closed and their tongues swirled as they kissed deeply. "Mstr. My Mstr. Just lay back and relax, let me do this," Evelyn said as she began bouncing on his strong pages. Feeling how tight Evelyn was as she bounced, Seishin's hips began bouncing on their own. As the two began moaning, Seishin suddenly saw a neon pink mark of her uterus glowing. "Evelyn, what's that mark?" Seishin asked while she continued bouncing on his hardness. This is my seal," Evelyn replied. "When it glows, it means that I've accepted you and only you as my mate." Seishin sat up on the bed while Evelyn remained bouncing on his lap. Her massive melons were pressed against his chest as she hugged her Mstr tightly. Evelyn moaned next to Seishin's right cheek, which was music to Seishin's ears. "Now that the magic's been cast, it won't take in any other's PP except yours, Mstr." Evelyn continued as Seishin's PP went deeper inside her inner walls, hitting every sensitive spot, making her melodical voice grow an octave higher. "It's similar to an eternal vow." "An eternal vow?" Seishin pondered while he and Evelyn kissed. He remembered the time he mated with Olga and Chloe. As he mated with them that night, he saw similar seals on them. Olga's mark was a scarlet inverted C with a lightning bolt mark on top while the bottom is attached to parallel circular loops and a trident in the middle of the first loop. Chloe's seal was a violet last quarter moon with two trident-like marks crossing over it. As Seishin finished remembering, he then pinned Evelyn to the bed while his hardness was still in her. Evelyn knows what he's going to do, so she wrapped her legs around his waist and let him take control as he continued pounding her hungry snatch. Evelyn moaned as she hugged her Mstr as she felt his thick going deeper in her inner moist cavern. "Mstr. It feels so good. I can feel your PP so deep inside me." Evelyn howled as she enjoyed every second of Seishin's embrace. Shortly after, the dark elf was on her hands and knees with her Mstr resuming his assaults deep inside her moist caverns. As he pounds her crevice, he leaned down and groped her milk-filled melons. Evelyn continued to as her melons are being massaged and her wet snatch being pounded. Both her love juices and her BRST milk began leaking as Seishin continues to PND her tight crevice. At the same time, Seishin began feeling a familiar tingling from his strong rod. He knew that he's nearing his limit and Evelyn's nearing hers. "Evelyn, I'm about to come," Seishin said in between each breath he took while pounding her pink passage. "Inside me, please give it to me in my womb. I want to give BRTH to your baby, MSTR." Evelyn replied as she pulled him into another deep and heated embrace. The two moaned as they wrapped their tongues with each other as they kissed. Then they immediately broke the embrace as they moaned, reaching their CLMX. Seishin flooded Evelyn's womb with his hottest PRM while she squirted from her CLT. The two froze for a short while as their CLMX had ceased. Seishin then laid on the bed with his strong PP still inside Evelyn as he wrapped his arm around her stomach. Seishin then attempts to take his PP out of her, but Evelyn clamped her inner walls so tight that he can't pull his hardness out. "MSTR. Please keep your PP in me," Evelyn said as she nuzzled against him. "Sure, Evelyn," Seishin replied as he smiled at her. Evelyn turned around until she stares in Seishin's eyes. The two closed their eyes and kissed once more as the two cuddled. "I love you, MSTR," Evelyn said as hugged him tightly. "I love you too, Evelyn," Seishin replied with a smile on his face. Both Evelyn and Seishin remained on the bed for a little while longer, until the two decided to get cleaned up and dressed. After they dressed up, they left the hot springs with her wrapping her arms, clinging to his arm with a pleased smile on her face. As they were walking through the halls, they saw Oriheim, Alicia and Prim in the gardens picking out harvested vegetables. Down the halls, he saw Aaliyah walking by. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 4. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author Takamagara 2012 on fanfiction.net. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.